And the next match is mouth-watering. Australia, finalists on the Gold Coast in their own home tournament, taking on Spain. Head-to-heads, and we see that Australia lead it quite comfortably by 7 points to 1, and they have never met here in Dubai. The big names are back for Australia. You've got Jenkins, Monahan and Lewis Holland, but keep an eye out for 25-year-old Shannon Walker, the former rugby league convert. Is certainly proving to be a game breaker in Dubai and also on the circuit. And for Spain, Tudela is there in his 16th event. He scored 7 tries, but Nil Baro, the 20-year-old in jersey 12, gets a start, his first here in Dubai. Gavin Cowley from South Africa joins me in commentary. And Gavin, we were lucky enough, well, not lucky enough, but we went out earlier, and conditions very, very warm here in Dubai this afternoon.
Yeah, it's incredibly warm, and it's to be expected too. But think of the players, you know, as the event progresses, so it gets tougher. It was 30 degrees, and it's the middle of winter, and it seems quite crazy, doesn't it? But interesting just having a look at these two combinations too, that Spain have chosen to go into this game without 2 of their really top players and most experienced players in Ignacio Martin and Pablo Fejou, that they haven't chosen them in this particular game, especially after that loss against Wales and the fact that Australia didn't start well.
Centurion referee Federico Anselmi from Argentina will control this, and that's something new that we haven't seen from the Spanish side, where they run out and actually form a huddle and then all take a knee. Spend a moment just in that. A little bit of variation from the Samoans, Fijians and New Zealanders, who normally race to try and get the match ball.
James Stannard starting this game. He's a replacement in this event for Cameron Clark, who's injured, so and also a very, very talented man is James Stannard.
Yeah, I know that. Cameron Clark was just in the last process, actually the last team run, where he did some damage to his hamstring, and so big blow for Australia. Able replacement though from that man who gets us started, and Stannard going high and claiming the ball beautifully as McMahon. Up 2 hands, what a beautiful take from the Australian forward. And now possession to Jenkins. Jenkins with a player out on the right-hand side. Here goes Monahan. Monahan 5 metres short, gets it back to Jenkins, and what a perfect start for Australia. Hands will do it here, out to Walker. Walker could score here by himself if he wants to throw the dummy end. Set up play. He's stripped of the ball, but it's gone backwards. Well, he was pretty casual there. He needed to really put the accelerator down, but a good start for Australia nonetheless. More possession through Stannard. And now out to Jenkins. Back on the cut. Monahan spins, turns, reaches and scores. Just like that. 45 seconds and Australia are on the board through Luke Monahan.
Well, they'll be particularly pleased with the way that things went for them there. They used the width of the field, some long passes. You know, maybe there was an opportunity for Walker to have made better than what he did. But Luke Monahan eventually the finishing touches, and hugely competitive here are the Australians. They really want to pick up their game after having struggled in that first match against Scotland.
Lovely athleticism as well. This is an Olympic sport, don't forget, and there you saw the forward roll that you'd normally see in gymnastics being displayed here by the Australians. And Luke Monahan, University of Queensland player, 28 tries in his career. Better restart for Spain. Now they finally get their hands on the ball. Could be a turnover here to Australia, and it was Monahan, the try scorer, that went in and just pinched it. Couldn't believe his luck. It was just sitting there. No one from Spain had actually bridged or protected it. And so Foley gets it wide. Well, the Australians just far bigger and stronger than the Spaniards at the moment. And Foley's going to race away to score his first try. Australia's second. And it all comes down to possession, and that turnover from Luke Monahan was costly for the Spaniards.
Again, we see the huge value that's placed on the breakdown point and controlling ball and turning ball over. And Australia just absolutely dominant in that area. They've spent a lot of time down here. The Spanish have failed to get into their half of the field. And on that occasion, Confoli finishing with a second try.
Very little that Nil Baro could do to stop Foley. And once he had got on the inside of Angel Lopez, They'll be disappointed, will the Australians, with their first match today, where they were beaten by Scotland by 4 points, 21-17. The restart, such a big, crucial part of the game, as falls into the hands of Walker. Ooh, well, he was away. Well, it's Shannon Walker, the Argentinian referee, saying that McMahon had knocked it forward, and there he is, 10th tournament, 20 tries. The league convert. Seems to be a lot freer this year than in previous years, where he's struggled with injuries. Pressure now on the Spaniards. Genua finally claims it and takes it in, but it just spews out the back there. Big tackle from McMahon again at the breakdown, but not rolling away. Look at that there, 14 passes by the Australians. The Spaniards are yet to pass the ball to a teammate.
They're not going to do it now either. They're going to hoof it out and take the line out. Interesting decision. Not the greatest of kicks. They're still inside their half of the field.
Of course, Spain, one of the core teams on the HSBC Sevens World Series. And a good point that you've made as well, Gavin, with regards to the experienced players being left on the bench, but you've got to give the youngsters a chance to play at the top level. And I think it's all about man management as well, just making sure that their final game later on today, that players like Martin and Feiju are still fresh.
It's sometimes in the mix as well, Willie. They've got 3 debutants on the field, have Spain, and obviously a very tough match for them.
And not coming through the gate, says Anselmi, and so Spain, you can see just how bunched they are as well. That's an issue. Look at them all all close together, as opposed to using the space. But here's Tudela, and now he gets it out wide. Here's the pace man in Carter. Carter with the chip, and now it's a foot race. He's got plenty of pace, but it's just going to be denied by the dead ball line. Showed a good pair of heels there, Jacques Carter.
Well, they look to bring the variation into their game to the Spanish. They're quite happy to use the boot if needed. There's Michael O'Connor, the head coach, 12 test matches for the Wallabies, and a vastly experienced man.
Yeah, biting the nails there too. Of course, a dual international, having played for the Wallabies and also the Kangaroos, and of course the Rugby World Cup final. New Zealand up against the Kangaroos early hours tomorrow morning.
Looks like we've got a bit of a problem with the ball. Someone's run away with it. Bring another one on.
The crowd building here as well. Right throughout the whole morning, you saw that it's just getting busier and busier in the corporate areas, and also in the ends that we have here. Tremendous atmosphere here in Dubai.
Well, that's just inside the stadium. Of course, if you take a walk around, there are thousands of people and plenty of games on the go.
Of course, 6 fields outside of this, the main field here, and different competitions going on. They've got the veterans, they've got the internationals, of course the women's and the juniors, all competing on the outside fields, and they'll get their chance to shine tomorrow in some of the finals that are played on at the main field. But just sloppy work there from McMahon. It wasn't a great pass from Jenkins, and now Spain look to try and open their account with a try. Patience, well, looking to maybe kick, and then he gives it out to Carter, who now wants to back his pace, but he couldn't hold his feet, and the referee says, well, you've fallen on your own. Monahan, who started the try scoring for Australia, just slows things down and waits for his players to get back in support. Can Australia go 98 metres? Jenkins takes it in. Holland, who we've hardly mentioned, taps. The quick tap, they have to be back 10 metres, and now Lewis Holland with the fend, and he will race away. Haven't mentioned him much, but he's a class player, is Lewis Holland. His 3rd try here in Dubai of 2013, his 49th. And as all good teams have seen over the past, just before the break, they score tries.
I absolutely agree with you, Willie, as well. This man has got a lot of talent. Even in a losing cause against Scotland, he really looked the part, and he's now got a try, which he will convert as well. So half-time then here as we see the break through that first up tackle there. And of course, once you bridge the initial defense, if you've got the legs, which Lewis Holland has got, he's going to make sure. So all 7 points then to the playmaker from Australia.
So half-time here, where Australia comprehensively ahead of Spain by 19 points to 0. Great opportunity. Not many sports you actually get to hear what the coaches are saying, so let's listen up.
Llevarles al suelo y acabamos involucrando un segundo jugador y a partir de ahí encadenan sin ningún pudor. No voy a hablar de los errores de placaje. Si son más fuertes, vamos abajo descerebrados. ¿Sí? Y necesitamos mantener la conservación. Unos segundos más, estamos perdiendo inmediatamente.
Jesus Delgado is the coach of Spain. Here's Michael.
Can we just lift the tempo a little bit? Okay, it's all very one pace at the moment. Work harder off the ball. We want another 20 points at least to get square. Okay, we need another 20 points, and most importantly, boys, they don't score. Okay, we've got to work our butts off in defence to make sure they don't score. All right, are you okay? Yeah, fine. Everyone okay for another?
Pretty simple message there. It's all about points after losing their first match to Scotland, and so that's what it could come down to in the final match of just how that plays out. And as you heard him say there, up the tempo.
Yeah, they've got to do it. I mean, it's absolutely crucial that they get 3 points here. Also, they'll find themselves under real pressure in their third pool game.
Well, it is the pool of death, isn't it? Scotland were superb in their first game. What a comeback. They were trailed in the first few minutes and then just turned it around completely.
I'll tell you what, Wales played well too. Their 38-0 victory was a one of substance.
Well, you can see that's why the points difference is so crucial. Australia guaranteed to possibly win this match, but by how many? Underway in the second half of this match, 13 of 24 on day one in Dubai. And mistakes by the Australians. Jenkins gets back to tidy up. 10 metres out from his try line. Patience, the initial word from Coach O'Connor, and then for them to up the tempo. And here's Walker. Shannon Walker, so strong and able to break the first tackle, and now they've got players. Big hit there coming in from Ignacio Martin, and so they have introduced one of the experienced players, and he came rushing out of the line. Con Foley certainly felt that.
There's good timing too on the tackle. It was a 2-on-1 situation, so well read by Ignacio Martin, and it's critical, of course, for Spain. They've got to put it in the scrum. Yeah, there's the hit. Didn't seem like there were any arms out there, so there might have been some questions around the validity of the hit.
Lopez feeds the scrum, and good pressure from Stannard means that there is another turnover for Australia. Now it's the big man that's been asked to go all the way, McMahon. McMahon may not have the pace, but he's certainly got plenty of power. The recycled ball from Holland. Now they will score. Australia, transfer of the hands. Walker will run in under the bar. And that's a 95-metre try from Australia. The pressure from Stannard. The turnover, McMahon then ran down the field, and then they just transferred it through to Shannon Walker.
Well, bearing in mind, it was a scrum put in for Spain, which they lost, and then opened up space here for McMahon. Key thing for Australia too is that they had enough support players, because they knew that he might not make it himself, and just watch how well they bring it out. And ultimately, it was an absolute canter for Shannon Walker. Try number 4.
Well, the coach asked for another 20 points on the 19 that they had at half-time. There is the mascot. Joey, I think its nickname is. How appropriate.
Got the name for it. It's we'll just see if we can find that.
And of course, the youngest member of the side is responsible for looking after Joey as well. It's been a tradition that the Australians have had in the Sevens side for quite some time. Make sure that Joey's on the sideline every single match. Well, the back flip there, not going to any player from Feiju. The referee says play on. And now they've gone straight to deck, holding on to the ball. Well, nothing going right for the Spaniards.
Absolutely not, no. Very difficult situation for them, and you know, one or two of their players have really just not been in the mix. Javier Carrion, he's one of them. They say he's quieter than a koala bear.
Well, Australia dominating here. Fresh legs have come on the field, and here is one of them, and Greg Jelidoff. Foley. Stannard. To another man, Esquith has just come on, and here is Jenkins. Jenkins looking to try and get on the outside. He will have the angle and score. Just like that, Ed Jenkins. Well, he's going to firstly ask the AFs whether it is a try or not. Remember, they do have the technology here to go to the screen, one look only. Well, he's going to award a try. I think he's going with the recommendation from the assistant referees, and that's good officiating.
And it's good teamwork too, just like we saw there from Australia in scoring that try, Ed Jenkins' try. It's a huge spread. Of all the tries, it's basically just about everyone that scored a try in this Australian team in this particular game.
And the right decision there. Look at that, ball grounded. His feet are still well and truly in play. Feiju, the tackler. And the correct decision from the officials. Well, Australia dominating everywhere. Passes completed 36 to Spain's 14, and that's fallen into the hands of the Australians again through Asquith, one of the new players on the circuit for the green and golds. Patient build up, and then the accelerator gets put down by Malouf. Nick Malouf will be too big and strong. He will score his first in the match. And really, it's just too easy now. Possession from the kickoff, they retrieve it, they push it wide, and then all of a sudden, one of their playmakers decides to step off his right foot, and the 20-year-old goes through to score.
Well, they're doing what their coach asked for at halftime. It was to get those points, and it's certainly the floodgates have opened, and one of the reasons why is the Australians have spread themselves across the field. They've used the width well, which has opened up more space, and it was a lovely little body swerve there from Nick Malouf to finish it off.
Well, he couldn't control the kickoff there, Malouf, and so the Spaniards have possession through Feiju, Martin. So the experienced players getting involved for Spain. Still inside their own half though, but the good news is that they do have possession, and the Australians are stretched. Barro, he's been good for a young man. Martin clears, and that's not a good pass, which means that Pablo Feiju has had to go back 15 metres, but now they're coming from all directions are the Spaniards, looking to try and get their hands on the ball. Into contact, and a big tackle there coming in from Tom Lucas, trying to hold him up, looking for the turnover, and it's been effective.
When you watch the defences that we see here in Sevens Rugby, modern day defences that are so much more watertight, Willie, one wonders just, you know, whether there's scope for practicing of good grubber kicks where you've got really quick guys that can run through, because once you get past the defensive line, if there isn't a sweeper there, you know, it really does open up space for you.
Well, they led by 19 points to nil, and their coach asked for another 20 in the second half. He's one away from that. 38-0. Can Australia look to score their 7th try? More missed tackles for the Spaniards. Well, he was never onside there. Sergio Fernandez, I know he tried to get away with it. Throws his hands up in the air, but he clearly had never got onside there. He just got up, the ball was there, and I think he was confused for a moment.
He had no rights to play that at all.
Can the Australians show some patience in building up for another try? They've been good at the breakdown. Have the green and golds. They'll get an advantage here because the Spaniards have infringed yet again. Cleared by Jelidoff, and now the angled run, and he'll be too quick. Will Luke Monahan, he started the scoring with his first, and now he's going to finish it for the Australians, their 7th.
Well, they've sorted it out in terms of the points. There's no doubt about that. A great double switch there from Australia that really opened up the space for them. And Morahan with his second try, and the conversion is good.
Just had the angle, didn't he? As soon as he got through the gap, and on the outside of Hernandez. Better performance from Australia. That will help a little bit of the hurt that they suffered at the hands of Scotland earlier today. But Australia too good for Spain, winning by 45 points to 0.
Australia captain Ed Jenkins. Ed, you slipped up earlier against Scotland. It meant you needed to win that and win it big, and you did.
Yeah, it was a disappointing start against Scotland. Quite similar, I guess, to the Gold Coast actually. But now we bounce back in the Gold Coast, and hopefully we can do it again today.
You're still going to need to beat Wales, though, aren't you? That's going to be a massive game, penultimate match.
Yeah, it will be. Wales always play well against us. They've probably had it over us in the last few times we've actually played. So it's going to be a big one up next. I think we've got 5 hours, so the boys should rest up and we'll come out hopefully with a good win.
Yeah, what's it going to take in terms of tactics? So without giving too much away, what are you going to need to do well against Wales?
I think we'll probably fix up our defence. Against Scotland, they really exposed us out in that area. So if we can fix up our defence, hopefully attack take care of itself as it did against in that game. So just defence, I think, is the focus.
Because on paper, it's a strong squad, isn't it? The likes of Luke Morahan coming in, you should feel confident here.
Luke Morahan, Greg Geladev, we're fielding a strong side here, probably one of the strongest we've ever fielded. So, hopefully we can make good of the good, strong side we've got at the moment. So, I guess Wales will be the test.
Thanks, Ed.
Thanks very much.